Brought to you by Lister Pros TV, streaming from Tempe, Arizona. And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, Jordan Nielsen here, host of Real Estate Pros on Lister Pros TV, and today we have a very special guest. We have Kelly from Coldwell Banker. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to join me on Real Estate Pros.
Okay, well, I've been in the business for, this is my 4th year, and I work with the Coldwell Bankers and just do a lot of rureal real estate. I like to help people live the American dream, find that dream, and help them out.
Awesome. So Coldwell Banker, so we know there's a lot of options here in Tucson when it comes to brokerages. Why did you choose Coldwell Banker?
It's a 120-year-old company, and so it's like a household name, and I felt that the branding was there and the quality was there with the agents, and the name stands behind itself.
Sure. So you've been an agent for 4 years. What did you do prior to real estate?
I was a office manager for a local copper mine.
Oh, okay.
And so just wanted to evolve out of that and do something that I always thought would be my knack, and I do pretty well with it.
So were you born and raised here in Tucson?
No, I'm from Wyoming, born and raised Casper, Wyoming, and just moved around
small
until
town?
I
Is
settled.
that considered a small town? Small town?
Yeah.
Casper? Kind of?
Yeah. Kind of.
Wyoming's kind of small, right? I think
It
the
is.
whole population's
It is.
not too much.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it's a small town, but I like the bigger cities too, so.
Yeah.
But,
Awesome. So what do you like most about being out here in Tucson?
the scenery and the climate. I don't have to shovel the sunshine.
Yeah.
And so most of our buyers that come in are usually, from the northern states, and so that I can resonate with when they say they're tired of the snow and the winters.
Oh, sure.
Minnesota, Michigan, those folks are always looking to buy down here for sure.
So are you, do you specialize in relocating people, or is that
I
a
do.
common thing? I know there's a lot of corporations and things out here where there's a lot of people coming in from out of state.
There are. We have Amazon's coming into Tucson.
Yeah.
Then we have Caterpillar coming in. So those folks are all going to need a place to live, and so we try to get everybody some housing. So it's a growing city, but it could go a little faster, in my opinion. But
Sure. And we know here in Tucson there's a lot of options when it comes to real estate agents. What makes you different than the agent down the street, or why do people ultimately choose to work with you?
Probably because I'm down to earth, and I'm not going to try to force them into doing something that they're not ready to do. And I want to make sure they have all the knowledge before they get into something. Don't want them in over their head for any reason because they just love a house. I mean, you might not be able to afford that house.
Sure.
So we want to stay realistic with what our needs are versus the wants, really, because you just need a roof over your head, but you
Right.
have to be realistic about it. So that, and I'm honest, and integrity is first in my book. So I always put people first ahead of my own needs. I'm not in this to make millions and millions of dollars, but that'd be nice. But the reality is you have to help everybody. So I work from $5,000 land deals on up. So no job's too small.
Right. So what do you enjoy most about working in real estate now that I guess that's kind of a big transition from the copper or
Industry.
office admin more was what your role, but I think there's skills that you had there, because there's a lot of paperwork, and there's also that kind of stuff in real estate outside of the showing homes. I think a lot of people have that perception of showing homes. So why do people ultimately choose you to represent them as a buyer or seller?
Because I have their best interest first, and again, it goes back to putting their needs first and what they're looking for, and I work hard for them. And I think any prior buyer I've had will attest to that's what Kelly does, is she looks out for us and what we're doing and, what the property is and what it isn't, and, just putting everybody's interest first.
Sure.
So making sure that the T's are
So
crossed,
not
I's are
trying to
dotted.
close a deal super fast to get a paycheck, but really
Right.
putting people's needs first and making sure that things are the right fit.
Right, right. Yep, I've worked with a few buyers, even some existing ones, where we've been on the hunt for maybe a year to 2 years now, and it's just the process of, being patient and understanding that, they have things that come up and they can't always, move on a property right away. They need to do some things either financially or they're just, overwhelmed with some personal stuff. And I'm patient with that. It's like, okay, well, something will come along and you'll be able to purchase it and be happy with it.
Right.
And not feel like you were pressured into buying something just because it was available. So.
Sure. And we know there's a lot of different things you can focus on within real estate. So you do residential real estate. And what are some of those activities that you do consistently to drive your business? Because we know that real estate's not an easy business to be in. Some people think it's easy. I get my license and the business is just going to come to me. What are those things that you do on a daily, weekly basis that really helps drive your business?
I reach out to the markets and find out who's looking for homes. I reach out to, friends, relatives, folks that are looking at houses. Just overall marketing, it does take a lot, and you have to constantly be on top of what's available for the people that you have in your pocket that are looking, so that you can at least show them, look, this came up on the market. Are you interested now, or do you still want to keep looking?
Right.
So that's important too, to be up on the market all the time, and being knowledgeable of what's happening with this market, because it's very different right now.
Right. So what changes have you seen since you started in the business in 2014? Is that when you started?
It was about 2016 actually.
Oh, okay.
So. But the thing is that with the market in Tucson, it goes up and then it goes down, it goes up and down, just like any, just like the market. So I found that a lot of buyers and sellers here are very watchful of what's happening at the Dow. And they are always like calling me and asking me, well, what do you think is going to happen to the market? Is it going to crash and all this stuff? Are we going to have another 2008? And I'm like, no, don't talk like that. We're not. Let's not go there.
Right.
So we just try to, keep them apprised of what's reality and just keep up to date on what's happening with that market.
Sure. What advice would you give to new agents that just got their license? So obviously you've made it pretty far into your real estate career. What is it, for somebody that's starting out? What kind of advice would you give them to be able to find success?
Make sure you sleep, eat, and keep breathing, because it is a lot of work. It is. It's like a marathon every day, trying to get out there and hustle and, get the leads and get the buyers and get listings. I mean, that's the other thing. You always, as an agent, you should have 1 to 2 listings at all times. If you don't, then you need to be finding them and getting them, because that's how your name gets out there, is through your listings.
Sure.
You can find buyers and stuff like that, but your name is out there if you're a lister.
Right.
So.
You got your sign out there.
Exactly.
Leads come a little bit easier. Awesome. So we talked about advice for new agents. And Coldwell Banker. Obviously you work here with. Let's talk a little bit about credit and lending side of the real estate transaction. What are those things that you're seeing? Because I think there's a lot of buyers out there that may not think that they could buy a house, or they're renting, and they, what are the requirements that you're seeing in today's market when you're trying to pre-qualify buyers to buy a home?
You need to have a good income, a steady income, and you need to have your credit scores up above you should shoot it for 640 or higher. There are programs out there where you can start at a 580, but it gets a little little hairy on the lending side. So the higher your credit, the better off you are going to be, the more leverage you've got as a buyer to, say, okay, I'm a ready, willing, and able buyer right now. Let's go. And that's the main thing right there. So for that, and then always know that you might not get the house that you see first, that you fell in love with, because if you love it, 10 other people love it too.
Sure.
And so then we get into these situations where you could get heartbroken if you don't get your offer accepted. Like I just said, if you love it, 10 other people love it, and you've got to be ready to come in pretty aggressive with your offer. And if you're not aggressive and you just want to lowball people, chances of getting the property are probably low.
Is that pretty common out here in Tucson, where a lot of multiple offers?
In some markets it is, but as an agent, we just do our best to educate and get them up to speed on how it works, because a lot of buyers don't understand. It's not like buying a car where you can go in and the guy writes down the number and then he goes back and talks to the manager and comes back with a new number, 4 times later. It's not that way. Like, if you want the property and it's ready to go and you love it, you don't want to lose it, then, and there's already offers on it because you've talked to the agent, then you need to be sure to educate them and let them know that, because otherwise they're going to be mad because you didn't get them the house they wanted.
Right.
So, but I always try to set them up for, don't have unrealistic expectations.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, that's smart. I think a lot of buyers may fall into that trap, thinking that it's a used car lot. When they have 10 cars and you're the buyer, but it's the opposite. You have one house and 10 buyers, so you're basically competing with a lot of other agents. But yeah, there's a lot of different things to consider in real estate to have that smooth transaction, put the customer first. Awesome. So if somebody watching this is interested in having you help them buy or sell a property in the Tucson area, how do people get a hold of you?
They can reach me at 520-784-9833, or you can email me at Medlock, movesarizona.com. Or is it .com or at?
AZ Moves? AZ Moves? Is that Coldwell Banker, AZ Moves?
Yes, AZ Moves. And but my phone works the best, so email, text, or message me on Facebook or what have you, whatever works for you. I try to keep all lines of communication available. I have various buyers. Most of the majority of buyers these days are all texting or messaging on Facebook. Emails, yes and no. And then some buyers are still, doing the phone, which is fine. It just, we're evolving into a different era.
Sure.
So.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Kelly, for joining me on Real Estate Pros, and we will see you guys on the next episode.